They had drifted nearly a mile from shore before anyone realized how far they'd gone. The wine-fueled giddiness that had launched the evening was rapidly fading, replaced by mounting panic. Karen was pacing back and forth on the deck, jittery and frantic, waving her phone in the air like it was a magic wand that could summon a signal. The livestream had died the second they left the marina's Wi-Fi range, leaving their audience with nothing more than a frozen frame of a board member stuffing shrimp cocktail into his blazer pockets. None of them had any real boating knowledge. They were suburban micromanagers who probably thought port and starboard were wine brands. The ring camera on the dock had lost visual contact, but I still had the boat's GPS data thanks to the tracker I'd installed. On my screen, a sad little icon spun slowly in place, drifting gently wherever the current took it. I checked the marine forecast: clear skies, calm waters, and hours of darkness ahead. Ideal, really. Inside the HOA group chat, a thread I had access to thanks to a former board member who'd quietly shared it with me months ago, the panic was ramping up. Boat just floated off. Anyone know how to steer this thing? You didn't ask him, did you? Someone messaged. Karen replied. He said it was fine. He'll understand. We're representing the neighborhood. No, Karen. You're stranded. And I was howling with laughter. They weren't in actual danger, not yet, but they were undeniably stuck, completely out of their depth. And every single second they floated out, there was further evidence of how recklessly they'd acted. Then the Coast Guard called. Sir, we received your report. A unit is en route to locate the vessel. Are you in immediate distress? Not at all, I said. I'm on land. I'm watching the GPS. They boarded without permission. I've got video, texts. Happy to send it over. They thanked me and said they'd keep me updated. An hour later, I saw the boat on the GPS spinning in slow circles. Someone must have tried to anchor it. Poor soul probably thought dropping an anchor was like yanking a parking brake. Meanwhile, Karen was in full meltdown mode on the HOA chat, pleading with everyone not to involve the police. Let's not escalate this. A bit late for that. Phones were dying. The wine had run out, and Karen's paper-thin leadership image was evaporating faster than the Chardonnay. They'd wanted a party. They ended up with a hands-on lesson in maritime incompetence. At about 3 a.m., the Coast Guard finally intercepted them. The boat was now nearly 7 miles out. According to their report, Karen was in tears, Greg had thrown up over the side, and one board member was hiding under a towel whispering something about jellyfish espionage. No one was hurt, just soaked in shame. At 6 a.m., I got another call from the officer. Sir, we've recovered your vessel. Just confirming. You never authorized this outing? I didn't. I've got a witness, video evidence, and messages showing how they manipulated their way on board. Want it now or later? A pause, then a faint laugh. Now is perfect. Later that day, I received official confirmation. The Coast Guard had classified the incident as unauthorized use of a vessel, a federal offense. While no criminal charges were filed, the documentation had been forwarded to local authorities and my insurer, especially since someone had scratched the hull trying to drop the anchor. Karen, ever the PR machine, scrambled to take control of the narrative. She called for an emergency HOA board meeting, claiming I had somehow orchestrated the whole event as a setup. Unfortunately for her, the neighbor she had manipulated into giving up my spare key spoke the truth. And the ring footage? It showed her grinning at the camera as she boarded the boat. The vote to remove her as HOA president passed 6-1. Greg abstained, probably still nauseous. Legally, I could have gone further. Trespassing, unauthorized use, emotional distress, I had options. But I chose the cleaner route. I billed the HOA directly for repairs and cleaning, complete with itemized receipts and photos. They resisted, so my attorney sent a formal demand letter. Payment arrived within 48 hours. And then I did what might have hurt the most. I sent a calm, professional email to the HOA mailing list titled simply, a quick reminder about respecting private property. 3 bullet points. My boat is not for public use. Gaining access through deception is still trespassing. Next time, the water might not be so forgiving. No responses, just silence. You'd assume that saying no in writing would be enough, especially when it concerns a privately owned boat, docked at a marina I pay for, fully insured in my name, and located well beyond the reach of the HOA's authority. But Karen, our neighborhood's self-appointed guardian of rules and regulations, clearly confused personal property with community playthings. It all started with one of her signature guilt trip messages. "We're in need of a special location for our upcoming HOA mixer, and your boat would be perfect. It's practically a local icon." I didn't wait long to respond. Within 10 minutes, I sent a clear and firm no. I referenced insurance liability, marina rules, and most importantly, stated that I was not giving permission. That should have been enough. It wasn't. Just a few days later, I had to leave town to attend a funeral. Before leaving, I did my routine check, secured the boat, locked the cabin, disabled the ignition, and double-tied the dock lines. I'd also recently installed a Ring camera pointed at the dock, synced to my phone just in case. That just-in-case moment hit around 8:47 p.m. on a Saturday. My phone buzzed with a motion alert. When I pulled up the live feed, I stared in disbelief. There was Karen, glass of wine in one hand and a rolling cooler in the other, boarding my boat like she owned the place. Behind her followed 3 HOA board members, decked out in golf shirts and boat shoes, holding red cups and a portable speaker. One of them even waved at the camera, grinning like it was a group photo for their newsletter. I immediately rang my neighbor, who's listed as my emergency contact at the marina. After a few long seconds of hesitation, he admitted that Karen had stopped by earlier, claiming I'd given her permission to grab the key from him for a scheduled event. He said she seemed so confident he didn't think to question it. I sat in stunned silence, my anger bubbling just below the surface. I watched the clip again and again, particularly the part where Karen laughed and said, "He'll get over it. It's not like we're doing any harm." But they were about to do more harm than they realized, mostly to themselves. I could have called the marina security. I could have alerted the police. But that felt too simple, too merciful. This wasn't a minor misunderstanding. This was calculated. Karen had manipulated my neighbor, trespassed, and thrown a party on my property. So instead of stopping them, I decided to let nature and technology do their thing. I pulled up my boat's remote system. It's 2025 after all. The engine was already locked remotely, but I'd also invested in a Wi-Fi-enabled mooring release system. One button press, and the dock lines would release, letting the boat drift naturally. I checked the tide and wind. The timing was perfect. An outgoing tide and a soft offshore breeze would gently guide the boat away from the marina. Sitting in my hotel room, drink in hand, I watched the live footage. Karen was strutting around the bridge, showing it off like she'd bought it herself. One guy was dancing. Another was relieving himself over the side like it was some lake house getaway. Then came the moment of truth. I tapped the release button. At first, no one noticed. Karen was too busy trying to livestream her exclusive HOA yacht night. But a few minutes in, you could see it on their faces. Something was off. The dock was shrinking in the background. The lights were growing dimmer. Karen's phone slipped from her hand as panic took over. "Why are we moving?" she shouted. One of the board members lunged for the ignition. Nothing. Someone else looked around for oars like this was a rented paddleboat. Another voice cried out, "Who's steering this thing?" No one. Certainly not them. I opened the Coast Guard app and filed a report. Unauthorized use of a private vessel. Last seen drifting east from the marina. I attached the security footage and screenshots of my text conversation where I'd refused permission. This wasn't a prank. It was documentation of a crime. And as the current pulled them farther away, I didn't feel guilt. Just a cold, calm satisfaction. I didn't put them in danger. I let the facts, the footage, and the sea speak for themselves.